So for everyone who has joined us live right now, so I want to welcome Kanishka, who's a master trainer, and she has over 2 decades of experience. I mean, 23 years to be precise, in the specific area of fitness for women, and like including a lot of buzzwords which you hear these days. I mean, PCOS, PCOD, and multiple other postnatal pregnancy issues. And I think you've been guiding people all across the world, including like countries around the world outside of India, like UK, Bhutan, and several other places as well. You have, I think, a lot of international clients as well.
That's correct.
And with that, without further ado, I want to welcome you and thank you for agreeing to host or co-host this session with me. So lovely having you, Kanishka. Over to you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, actually. Thank you.
Correct. So I would start this by asking you a few questions, just for all of our audience as well. So we'll keep it very straightforward, simple, and more interactive. I have few questions in my mind which I'll ask Kanishka, and then we will also take in audience questions in between as and when they come.
Yes.
And maybe once we finish one of those questions, we'll take a lot of audience questions, and we'll have some time in the end as well where we can directly interact with our audiences also. Does that make sense, Kanishka? Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
So I'll start this by asking you a very, very generic question in terms of, I mean, you've been into this domain of fitness industry, or rather helping people be fit, where we have been going through a lot of ups and downs as a human being, right? And a lot more with this fast-paced life that we live these days. So what is your training like? I mean, you focus more on Zumba or on some other forms, and what do you teach like, and how did you get onto this journey? I mean, a little bit of that as well will be wonderful for our customers and our audience today.
Sure. Avinash, my journey dates back about 23 years, and it started when I was obese. I was 87 kgs, and I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I have something called as fibromyalgia as well. So when you have fibromyalgia, you're active, but then your nerves pain all the time. And if you're somebody like me who's got Hashimoto's thyroiditis, you will have a combination of hyper and hypo. All right. So when I was 87 kgs, it was really, really very difficult to manage even the daily chores, to be precise. And that's when I started my fitness journey, and I was trained in UK, US, Bhutan, and India as well. I did my certifications. And at first, the idea was to become fitter, myself. उस टाइम पर कोई डिग्रीज नहीं होती थी. उस टाइम पर जो कोई निकम्मे निठल्ले होते थे, कुछ नहीं करते थे, वो फिटनेस ट्रेनर बन जाते थे. So it was that time when I took this step. I was actually in finance. I got a company from London to India as well. But this was always there parallelly, and then that's how the journey started.
Wonderful. That's wonderful to know. And I can think about 23 years back, it's like just 2000. So I mean, that's way back when people were not even aware of this concept, especially in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is how people were. कि चल लेते हैं, बस fit हो गए और क्या है? So the
Yeah,
concept of fitness is that
gym trainer ban jao, fitness training kar lo. But to answer the second part of your question, no, I don't take just Zumba. Zumba is just any kind of cardio that you do. It is just for calorie loss. I actually do a very scientific training wherein we do stepper training, we do kickboxing, we do HIIT, we do strength training, we do weights, ankle weights, Pilates. It's a combination of all the different types of things that really, really work, especially for your health and your hormonal health as well. So if someone is going through PCOD, PCOS and stuff like that, this is the place to be. And it's a very scientific, individualized, customized approach. So that's how it works. Yeah.
And that reminds us about Osoaa also as a brand. That is one of our biggest focus, that we don't want to be a generic brand, and that's where our personalized focus and how do we focus on not just physical but mental and gut health. I mean, that is what resonates with what you said just now, because it has to be personalized. I mean, health is never a thing which is generalized. Yeah, I mean, there can be two people who are 85 kilos of weight, but for one it might be okay if he's 6'5" or 6'6" height, but for one who is maybe say 5 feet or 5.5 feet, that may be very, very wrong. So it cannot be generalized. You have bas kha lo ek cheez hai, then you are okay, or have this much of protein. So that
I see a lot of people, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. I see a lot of people handing out diet plans, parre bhej rahe hote hain, and it is, they feel it's one size fits all, which is not true, and then things don't work, and then they say that exercise is not working. It has to be customized every time, because every person's body works and responds in a different way.
Correct, correct. So from this, I'll move on to my second question, which I got from one of our teammates itself. So as a vegetarian, I mean, you've been focusing more on vegetarian food and all, and so I wanted to ask you, there are a lot of people who are vegetarian, and it is very difficult for them to focus on their fitness regime and all. And they say, कि भाई हमें कुछ option नहीं मिलता, it is only paneer. So what is your thought on that?
See, to be
Because
honest,
I myself, so before that, sorry, I'll just confess something. So I eat both veg and non-veg, but off late, because of a lot of other issues due to which I have also figured out from non-veg food because of the quality. So I've reduced eating non-veg and I'm more focused on vegetarian food. But the options in vegetarian is less for people, and they say, "Bhai, how will we meet the target?" And there is another confusion on that. Sorry, I'm mixing two questions here.
Okay.
Because I hear this a lot of.
All right, we'll start first with I think we got a couple of questions there as well. What is the requirement of protein, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll start with that first. Usually they would say, I would recommend 1 gram per kg of your body weight, because 0.8 grams usually is the RDA, but then recommended dietary allowance, that is. Lekin the reason why I recommend 1 gram is because absorption har ek food item ka alag alag hota hai. Okay. There are some food items which will absorb properly. Sometimes you will have 50 grams of protein, but absorption sirf 40 ka hota hai, right? So if you're doing no exercise, just living your life, I would recommend 1 gram of protein per kg of your body weight. Okay. Since we are going really deep into all of this, let's get a clear-cut idea about how it works. Okay. Now, if you are moderately exercising, I would recommend 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein. And if you're doing vigorous exercising, एकदम आप 6 दिन करते हैं और अच्छे से करते हैं, 1-1.5 घंटा आप exercise करते हैं, then I would recommend about 2 grams of protein per kg of your body weight. Now, this will vary. That's why I always say, because there are a lot of contributing factors to this, Avinash. What usually happens is people may have different health conditions and stuff like that. So, usme hame na keval protein, na keval uska flavor, we have to check everything and then advise. Okay. Coming to the second thing that you asked, what are the vegetarian sources? I'll tell you both, the vegetarian and non-vegetarian sources. Non-vegetarian में आप chickpeas ले सकते हैं, राजमा ले सकते हैं, छोले ले सकते हैं, green peas ले सकते हैं, nuts में proteins होते हैं. The problem with vegetarian protein, and this is the fact that I'm going to say, the problem is that it will never be lean protein. Okay. To correct, I was not always propagating vegetarian food items or vegan food items before, but I'll come to the answer why I don't recommend non-vegetarian foods as much as I used to recommend before. अब क्या होता है, जब आप राजमा ले लो, छोले ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो, उसके साथ में आपको कार्ब्स आएगा ही आएगा, right? So when you're having rajma, it's not just protein, it's not lean protein, it will have minerals, fiber होगा, उसके साथ में आपको carbohydrates भी मिलेंगे, which will mean more of calories are being added. However, the quality of protein is not concentrated, just protein हमको नहीं मिल रहा है. आजकल उसके साथ प्रॉब्लम ये हो गया है कि the land is not fertile. So what do people do? Too much of urea, and there's so many researches which are clearly identifying urea even in a mother's milk these days, which is so pathetic. But then उपजाऊ है नहीं मिट्टी, तो फिर वो लोग यूरिया वगैरह डालते हैं. So ये problem है with vegetarians. Two problems. One is the urea thing, second is the carbs thing. Now with non-vegetarian sources, पहले chicken हुआ करता था. आजकल we don't know what we're eating, to be honest. I have no clue. There's so much of growth hormone is put in these chickens, hens, to become big quickly so that they can be sold off. उसके अलावा जो अपना egg है, वो egg भी नहीं है actually, because what is egg? It is the period of a hen. And the hen is constantly, put under the pain of, period so that she could give the egg. And just imagine that hormonal induced egg और चिकन कितना हमको हेल्प करेगा, आई कांट से इट इज डेफिनेटली. आजकल जो पीसीओएस पीसीओडी है, कई लोग मुझे बोलते हैं वी आर ईटिंग राइट स्टिल वी आर हैविंग दीज प्रॉब्लम्स. सो दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी बिग contributing factor. And what happens is I believe in prana, I believe in energy of food, you know. जैसे कई लोग who've been mothers, they would know when they are breastfeeding they are always told कि खुशी से breastfeed करो क्योंकि energy goes into the child as well.
Correct.
So जब आप इतना खराब तरीके से हुआ हुआ खाना खाते हैं तो उसकी energy, the prana is also bad, and that impacts us psychologically as well. So we're eating all these food items thinking that we're eating good protein, and then we have got so much of stress as well, or anyway these energies combined together are giving us a lot of lifestyle diseases. So I hope that
True.
answers
I
your
think I've
question.
also read about it a lot. I mean, like energy is also there in the water you take, and also that is very, very interesting concept.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
everything that you have, it has a lot of energy in part of it, and we need to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And how we consume makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely. How the source of the food item is very important as well for the energy that it carries. And it shows on people. I feel I've seen this, you know, when I've started eating food which comes from valid sources without harming anybody or anything, the whole body changes.
Correct.
So definitely it
So,
impacts.
I mean, it's very rightly said. The current chicken which we eat is mostly broiler chicken, which is just they are just brought up to be culled. And unfortunately, there is not much care given to them, and they're not free range. They're always in a cage, and so the development of their brain and all doesn't happen. And if you talk about the chicken which we used to have like a maybe say 3-4 decades back, they were all free range chicken. So country chicken which you used to say, and that was far more healthier. They used to run, they used to have their own development and on their own lifestyle. At a later stage, they used to be culled, which is still much better, and in terms of they have a good muscle development and all, which made it more healthier in terms of a protein source.
We weren't that ambitious, I guess, before. So we just lived life as we were supposed to live, more close to nature is what
Correct.
I would say. But now things are not as real as they used to be before.
So
Definitely
that
a factor.
the word real brings me to the point is a lot of people talk about fitness. So as per you, with over a 2 decade of experience, so what do you, how do you define a real fitness? Because there are so many things, so much of information around floating around in the internet, which talk about fitness, real fitness. So I mean, you've been a practitioner for 20 years with, I mean, real experience from outside India as well. So what is it as per you?
See, to be honest, Avinash, what I see here is if you're slim, you're fit. I mean, this is such a crazy concept. मैं अगर 10 दिन नहीं खाऊंगी तो मैं पतली हो जाऊंगी, right? Anybody who doesn't eat proper food or you know the exact amount of carbs and proteins that are required, they will slim down. Slimming has got nothing to do with fitness, to be honest. You'll see a lot of thin people, but not at all fit. Actually, for me, it is strength, flexibility, endurance, and most important, the ability to fight diseases. That is immunity. क्योंकि
Yeah.
अगर immunity नहीं है, strength नहीं है, flexibility नहीं है, आपकी quality of life impact होगा ही होगा. मतलब it is never going to be the same. If you have everything else, you look good also externally, but inside if you're not strong, if you don't have good immunity, it doesn't help. So it's a combination: strength, flexibility, endurance, and the ability to fight diseases.
So this brings up to me just a follow-up question is, I mean, a lot of people, even including me, the first immediate parameter of health is, okay, he's slim, he would be healthy, right? He would be fit.
Yeah.
But as you talk about endurance, immunity, and strength, so how do, I mean, see, unfortunately, we human beings have been taught कि जो दिखता है वही सही है. So we believe in our eyes. So how do we talk about these things? Like, so for example, if it is about me also, so how do I report my endurance? What is my endurance rating? What is my strength rating and all? So is there some easy way that all the audience who are here right now, they can also analyze the parameters on their own? Because the current parameter is कि भाई weight BMI ratio देख लो, weight to body ratio वो ठीक है, बस I'm fit. But how do they go into the advanced level?
I agree. This is a very good question. And what usually happens is we are too much with calculations, you know. And my idea of fitness is your mind, body, and spiritual fitness. It's all three of them together. It's holistic. Okay. Basically, आपको करना ये है कि you have to have a good combination of strength and cardio, both. When you do them, and when you do them consistently, you will feel you're comfortable with one level. Your trainer will automatically take you to the next level, which is why we need somebody guiding us how to move forward. तो उसमें स्ट्रेंथ में, एंड्योरेंस में, फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, इन तीनों जगह पर आपको प्रोग्रेस मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. सो देयर इज नो सेट पैरामीटर फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस बिकॉज लाइक आई सेड It's going to be
So
customized. It's
what
individual.
would be the basic level of endurance to know कि हाँ मतलब he is basically fit but he can go to the next level. I mean, so you train so many people. So what would be a basic level of endurance or strength which you judge from? So maybe for example, if you do this exercise this many times, then okay, fine, you have a basic level of fitness. So what is there something
No,
kind of a
no,
benchmark?
no.
Because unfortunately, human beings are trained to
Unfortunately, this is
focus
not
on
the way.
numbers.
This is not how it is. I'll give you an example. When a mother comes back after giving birth, she will never be at that level where she was 9 months before, or even before that when she was
Yeah,
planning her baby. तो जब वो आते हैं तो zero, no weights, nothing, just simple movements आसान लगने लगे. That's why I said individual. When I see people, I can make out that they are at this level and they're finding it easy, then I move them to the next level. और मैं हड़बड़ी नहीं करती हूँ, because
okay.
for some people, 5 kgs will be too much,
Yeah,
when they are starting or even during their journey. If you've had an injury, your fitness level will be different. You'll be starting with minus, way below even the normal level. So it is individualized. When you find you're able to exercise smoothly, you go to the next level by gradually increasing the weights you're lifting for strength training. And what you can also do is, when you're doing, say, cardio, for example, तो अगर आप run करते हैं at, say, I usually, suggest in terms of music, you're on like 130 beats per minute का music आप चलाते हो. अगली बार आप 135 beats per minute चलाओ. उसके बाद 140 beats per minute. So you will be putting pressure on your heart and your lungs, which is very important to enhance your immunity and the respiratory function. But at the same time, you will not be like, परेशान हो रहे हैं. You understand? So the problem happens, or the consistency gets impacted, because people are trying to do too much too soon. है ना? धीरे
okay.
धीरे, I always tell people to connect to their bodies first, and your body will tell you when you're ready, and you will automatically feel, 2 kg आज आसान लग रहा है, let's try 2.5. Slowly, let's
Correct.
try 3. So that's how we progress. And like I said, it's completely individualized, no set parameters there.
Okay, wonderful. So, I mean, coming from an industry where nutrition is so important, and protein is actually one of the most important macronutrient. So,
Absolutely.
do you recommend protein to everyone? Are there any specific considerations for individuals with dietary restrictions or medical conditions when it comes to protein intake?
Definitely. If you have uric acid issues, you cannot start protein.
Okay.
Actually, एक vicious cycle होता है, Avinash. That's the problem. What happens is, you've got an unhealthy lifestyle. You've done jhol japata with your food for a very long time. Then if you're having uric acid and suddenly you wake up and you say, मुझे आज protein start करना, it doesn't work like that. Gout है, uric acid है, नहीं ले सकते हैं. कई बार people end up having operations which is not in their hands, and some parts in the body are removed as well. Digestive process के जो body parts हैं, जैसे कि किसी I've had students who've had their intestines removed or reduced to very small for some reason, due to some infection or injury or whatever. In that case, I don't advise protein at all. Kidney problems हैं, no protein. इसके अलावा अगर आपके digestion में generally issues रहते हैं, तो I start them with, as ये बोलते हैं ना, जैसे easily absorbable proteins, और या फिर जब मैं protein supplement भी suggest करती हूँ, तो I will suggest small quantities. We start with like 3/4 of a scoop or half a scoop and see how it is going. Yeah, 1/4 of a scoop, depending on the person's individual fitness situation, digestibility कितनी है उसके हिसाब से. फिर धीरे धीरे हम बढ़ा सकते हैं. कुछ सिचुएशंस में तो मैं बोलती ही नहीं हूँ, बिकॉज किडनी प्रॉब्लम्स होगी, एग्जिस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम्स है, तो देन आई डोंट रेकमेंड इट ऑल. ऑल्सो व्हेन आई रेकमेंड प्रोटीन, अविनाश, इट्स नॉट लाइक इट्स समथिंग दैट कॉस्ट मनी. सो आई रेकमेंड. फिर बाकी अपनी इच्छा है कि आपको कितना करना है, आगे कैसे जाना है. सो आई लीव इट टू द पर्सन. आई विल टेल देम ऑल द इंग्रेडिएंट्स दैट आर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर देम टू रीच देयर गोल. फिर करना नहीं करना, दैट इज अप टू यू.
Perfect. So, and how does protein impact the regular body function? Because a lot of people say कि नहीं मेरे nails bitter हो गए तो इसलिए मुझे protein चाहिए. But that's a very very minute way. But how does a protein impact in the overall sense of body functioning?
See, protein is practically part of everything that we do. है ना? हमने क्या सुना है, क्या पढ़ा है कि रिकवरी फूड है ना, रिपेयर करने वाला फूड है. बट योर स्किन, योर हेयर, योर नेल्स, एवरीथिंग रिक्वायर्स प्रोटीन. योर बोन्स, योर एंजाइम्स, everything needs protein. Also, researchers have found out that there are 10,000 types of proteins required to let you become or stay the kind of person you are. So the variety is huge, right? इसके अलावा ना कुछ चीजें हैं, साइकोलॉजिकल फंक्शन है जिसको लोग नहीं जानते, जिसको मैं आई वांट टू रियली हाईलाइट ऑन दिस. एक तो सेटाइटी वैल्यू ऑफ प्रोटीन इज रियली हाई. right?
Yeah.
So when people consume good quality and good absorbable type of protein, there is a huge difference in their whole eating habit. क्यों?
Okay.
क्योंकि जब सैटिस्फाइटी वैल्यू ज्यादा होती है तो आप दूसरे जो हम कचरा खाने जाते हैं ना कि कंफर्ट फूड चाहिए क्योंकि फील ही नहीं हो रहा कि कुछ खाया है, अच्छा खाना है जो होता है, दैट हैपेंस व्हेन देयर इज लेस सैटिस्फाइटी वैल्यू इन द फूड आइटम्स दैट यू आर ईटिंग. So when
Okay.
you get satiety value, which you get with a good quality protein, you will end up being able to choose the foods that you wish to eat. Now, like I said, enzymes for hormonal function बोल लीजिए, सारी चीजों का impact प्रोटीन से होता है. तो अगर आपके hormones, and women will relate to this so well because what happens is we eat because of our hormones, Avinash. So most of the times, मैं अक्सर जब लोग बोलते हैं ना कि मैं इस टाइम पर नहीं आ रही इस रीजन से उस रीजन से, I often tell them that महीने में 15 दिन तो ladies will have some fluctuation. So you've got to do what you can at that point in time. That is my focus on. So when you're eating healthy, तो उससे support मिलता है हम लोग को. आप कचरा नहीं खाओगे. एक तो प्रोटीन हो गया तो आपको वैसे भी psychologically you'll feel थोड़ा बहुत better. So it will help you to become stronger in a better way. अब क्या होता है कि जब when we talk about the various hormones which are released, various enzymes that are released, so बहुत सारे ऐसे release होता है जब when जिससे satiety value हमको और clearly feel होती है. जैसे कि fat जब हम डाइजेस्ट करते हैं, प्रोटीन जब हम डाइजेस्ट करते हैं, हमेशा ध्यान देना आप जब भी आप फैट खाते हो, अच्छा फैट, बाय दैट आई मीन एवोकाडोज या पीनट बटर. सो when you have that, you will feel full. So there's something called a CCK, which is an enzyme which is released and which gives you the satiety value, जिसको हम बोलते हैं cystokininin. So when you use those, cholecystokinins, you'll actually feel a lot more, when it's coming out and being released in the body, you will feel a lot more comfortable, and the food will not direct you. You will be able to decide what you want to eat. So that's the difference.
That's an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the optimal time to consume protein? And like Aditya is also asking, how many times can someone take a protein shake? So, there's a couple of questions which are coming in from our feed. So, wanted to address that.
Sure. अब होता क्या है ना, लोगों का थोड़ा सा फंडा अलग अलग होता है. I'm going to tell you what really works. 22-23 साल not only of research but experience with so many people. पहली बात होती है कि हम जब खाना खाते हैं, I always recommend that you have an early dinner. Like a lot of people will say 6:37. I say at least 7:30 तक आपका डिनर हो जाना चाहिए. तो जो भी आपने खाया वो आपका पूरे रात में यूज हो जाता है. ठीक है. तो जब आप उठते हैं, हाँ, जब आप उठते हैं, इसमें मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सरसाइज का भी बताऊंगी. फॉर वेरियस individuals, not all, I would recommend empty stomach exercises. Not all, please consult me personally. Don't quote me. If you have sugar issues or hormonal issues, then I will be giving you another way out. But mostly, when you exercise in the morning, you will set your metabolism for the whole day, Avinash, right? So, अभी तो हमने खाली पेट रहे हैं, है ना, सारा खाना यूज हो गया है. एक्सरसाइज करने के हाफ एन आवर के अंदर मैं हमेशा रेकमेंड करती हूँ कि आप प्रोटीन सोर्सेज खाइए. उसका रीजन है, एक तो रात का खाना यूज हो गया है, दूसरा जब हमने एक्सरसाइज किया तो हमारे जो मसल्स है वो ब्रेक कर जाते हैं, तो उसको रिकवरी फूड, रीबिल्डिंग फूड चाहिए होता है. सो व्हेन यू आर लुकिंग एट रीबिल्डिंग फूड, व्हाटएवर यू ईट एट दैट टाइम विल गेट अटैच्ड टू योर बॉडी वेरी क्विकली. इसलिए मैं कहती हूँ जो आप चाहते हो कि शरीर को लगे वो एक्सरसाइज के बाद तुरंत आप लीजिए. एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ, अगर आप रेगिस्तान में है ना, इफ यू सी डेजर्ट एंड इफ देयर इज सैंड, है ना, आप उसमें अगर पानी डालोगे तो तुरंत वो एब्जॉर्ब कर लेगा, राइट? स्पंज को देख लीजिए, वो तुरंत एब्जॉर्ब कर लेगा. उसी तरह से बॉडी विल एब्जॉर्ब योर प्रोटीन द बेस्ट either in the mornings, that is one situation. Second situation is after exercise. Usually it is set up to 2 hours, but I say within 30 minutes. So these are the two good times. If you're exercising in the evening, then within 30 minutes of exercising.
Okay. And there are a lot of people who don't exercise, but they still want to consume proteins. Like for a satiety value of it, that it keeps me full and I can skip a meal out of it. So what's your take on that?
It's the calculation, Avinash, to be honest. अगर वो लोग 1 gram per kg of their body weight, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले बताया, अगर वो लेते हैं और उनका 1 gram के हिसाब से, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम 50 kgs एंड इफ आई एम टेकिंग अ टोटल ऑफ 50 grams ऑफ प्रोटीन, और लोगों को लगता है बहुत आसानी से 50 grams ऑफ प्रोटीन हो जाता है. नहीं होता है. यू नो, इट इज अ लॉट ऑफ हार्ड वर्क टू गेट दैट 50 grams ऑफ प्रोटीन इन प्लेस. सो अगर आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, अगर आप एक मील रिप्लेसमेंट की तरह भी प्रोटीन को लेते हैं, लाइक आई हैव ऑलवेज सेड, गुड क्वालिटी प्रोटीन, एब्जॉर्बेबल प्रोटीन इज डेफिनेटली अ गुड आइडिया, एंड आई डू दैट माई सेल्फ मेनी टाइम्स, सो इट्स अ गुड आइडिया.
Okay, okay. And so, are there any pitfalls that individuals should be cautious about when they're trying to incorporate more protein in their diet?
देखिए अविनाश, नाउ द थिंग इज, अति में कुछ भी करिए तो नुकसान करेगा, है ना. अगर मैं विटामिन ज्यादा लेती हूँ, विटामिन आर गुड फॉर मी, तो मैं बस ऑरेंजेस ही ऑरेंजेस खा रही हूँ. किसी ने बोला विटामिन सी एड्स इन इम्यूनिटी, तो मैं अगर 10-12 ऑरेंजेस खाती हूँ तो मुझे नुकसान करेगा, राइट. सिमिलरली प्रोटीन हैज टू बी ईटन और टेकन एज पर द आरडीए, तो है ही, जो बॉडी की रिक्वायरमेंट है उस हिसाब से. मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ. अगर इफ लाइक इफ यू आर अनवेल, okay, but the problem is with your digestive system, you have to have less quantity. धीरे धीरे आप प्रोटीन बढ़ाओगे, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि आपने बहुत वेट पुट ऑन कर लिया तो हम तीनों मील्स में सिर्फ प्रोटीन खा रहे हैं, राइट. सो प्रॉब्लम्स ये होते हैं, किडनी प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं अगर, एंड दिस इज वेरी रेयर बिकॉज दिस इज स्पेशली विद पीपल हु आर ओनली कंज्यूमिंग प्रोटीन, बहुत ज्यादा थिंकिंग है प्रोटीन खाना ज्यादा खाए. तो आप, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, एक्सरसाइजिंग है, 2 ग्राम पर केजी ऑफ बॉडी वेट तक खा रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं होगा. ड्रिंक लॉट्स ऑफ वाटर विद एनी प्रोटीन, वेदर योर प्रोटीन सोर्स इज फ्रॉम एग, इट्स फ्रॉम चिकन, इट्स फ्रॉम वेजिटेरियन सोर्सेज, बिकॉज प्रोटीन ऑन इट्स ओन टेक्स अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ टाइम टू डाइजेस्ट, है ना. बहुत ऐसे फाइबर नहीं होता है उसमें, फाइबर की तरह जल्दी से नहीं हो जाता. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने हरी सब्जी खा ली, वो जल्दी डाइजेस्ट होता है. इसका काम भी पेचीदा है, इसलिए अगर आप इसको जितना बताया है उसमें खाते हैं कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी, लेकिन अगर बहुत ज्यादा खाते हैं, किडनी, लिवर, नोजिया, स्टमक एक्स वगैरह भी हो सकते हैं.
Okay. So you touched upon a point of water intake. So is there any relationship of protein to water intake? Like when should, if, say for example, if you had a protein shake, so is it okay to drink water immediately after that, or should they give some gap? Is there
What I
anything else?
usually, sorry, I cut you short.
Go ahead.
सी बेसिकली व्हाट हैपेंस इज, जब आप कुछ भी खाते हो ना, तो उसके बाद में डाइजेस्टिव जूसेस निकलने शुरू होते हैं.
Correct.
और जब आप प्रोटीन पाउडर्स ले रहे हो तो उसको पानी के साथ लेने से उसकी एब्सॉर्बेबिलिटी बढ़ती है.
Okay.
अगर आप सिर्फ, यू कांट हैव द पाउडर जस्ट लाइक दैट. सो सो व्हाट आई रेकमेंड इज दैट यू शुडंट ड्रिंक वाटर सेपरेटली. जैसे आपने अभी प्रोटीन ले लिया है ना, आप उसके 30 मिनट के बाद लेना शुरू करें, क्योंकि इट विल गिव इनफ टाइम फॉर दैट प्रोटीन टू गेट एब्जॉर्ब्ड इन द सिस्टम. कोई भी मील में अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा पानी करते हैं, प्रोटीन इज एन एक्सेप्शन, बिकॉज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद प्रोटीन पाउडर्स इज व्हेन यू आर एडिंग द वाटर, इट इज गिविंग इट दैट एब्जॉर्बेबिलिटी एंड सेटाइटी वैल्यू दोनों. पानी बहुत कम लेंगे तो सेटाइटी वैल्यू कम हो जाएगी. तो उतना जितना रेकमेंडेड है, योर मोस्ट ऑफ योर जार्स, ऑल द जार्स हैव क्लियर इंफॉर्मेशन कितना आपको पानी डालना है. उतना लेने के बाद आई यूजुअली रेकमेंड आप 30 मिनट्स के बाद पानी पीजिए, या जो करना है वो आगे यू कैन टेक आफ्टर 30 मिनट्स. लेट इट एब्जॉर्ब, गिव इट दैट काइंड ऑफ टाइम, एंड देन यू गो टू द नेक्स्ट वाटर इनटेक सेशन और व्हाटएवर यू वांट टू डू.
Correct. So, what is, I mean, a lot of people confuse between the relationship between protein, carbs, and fats. And there are a lot of thought process, we can eat this ratio or that ratio, and then we can only go on carb diet. So there's a lot of things on the internet on that. And so how would you break this up, the relationship?
फैट्स का काम क्या है? एनर्जी को स्टोर करके रखना. कार्ब्स का काम क्या है? एनर्जी देना. और प्रोटीन्स का काम क्या है? रिपेयर, रिकवरी करना. तो तीनों फूड आइटम्स बहुत जरूरी, मैक्रोज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. अब इसका जो कॉम्बिनेशन है वो वन साइज फिट्स ऑल नहीं होता है, क्योंकि लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन आई हैव सीन पीपल रिकवरिंग फ्रॉम इंजरीज, वी नीड टू रियली एनहांस देयर प्रोटीन इंटेक. आई वर्क विद डॉक्टर्स वेयरइन वी हैव सेड नहीं, इनको दो ट्वाइस द क्वांटिटी दीजिए, जबकि वो सेडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल में, बट उनको प्रोटीन देना जरूरी पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि नहीं तो उनके जो नसें हैं वो जल्दी बिल्ड नहीं करेंगे, मसल मास जल्दी बिल्ड नहीं करेगा, और कभी कभी जैसे स्टिचेस लगे होते हैं, उस सिचुएशन में हम ज्यादा प्रोटीन देते हैं. नाउ in simple forms, if you ask me, I would recommend like a 25 to 30 grams of fat, 30% of food items from fat, about 40 to 45% of your macros are coming from protein, and 30 to 35 from carbs. Uska ek reason hai. Now a lot of people will say, oh only 35% carbs. Uska reason hai, we, most of us usually do not work in the fields like how we used to. तो जब हम तब खेतों में काम करते थे, we needed more carbs, we needed a simple carbs, जिसमें अगर आप देखोगे खेती बाड़ी जो करते हैं लोग, बहुत चावल खाते हैं, क्योंकि उनको वो एनर्जी रखती है, और they will have good muscle strength also. That happens because they need that simple carb to work in the field. Same thing with athletes. right? You need a certain amount of simple carbs. लेकिन हमारे lifestyle में मुझे लगता है about 40 to 45% can be from protein. If you're exercising for an hour every single day, 5 to 6 days a week, then I feel 40 to 45% should come from proteins.
Okay, okay, wonderful. And how can people make? Before that, I have an interesting question because from this carb, the keto diet comes into picture. So,
Keto ko pito. Yeah, sorry, बोलिए. Sorry.
so what do you think about keto, where keto diets and all?
I am a firm believer of balance of some sort.
Okay,
Not only with your food and nutrition, but also with everything else. जब आप extreme में जाते हो, जब carbs completely निकाल देते हो, कोई keto में क्या है? You have your proteins, you have your fats, you can't have carbs. You will
correct.
get results. Again, pointing to the same thing, becoming slim. लेकिन जब आपके शरीर में कार्ब्स नहीं, हमने क्या एनर्जी के क्या क्या हमने डिसाइड किया, डिस्कस किया था? फैट इज फॉर स्टोरिंग एनर्जी, कार्ब्स इज फॉर गिविंग एनर्जी, राइट?
Energy.
प्रोटीन इज फॉर रिपेयर एंड रिकवरी. तो जब हम एनर्जी के लिए कुछ खा ही नहीं रहे हैं, तो यू विल बी डल एंड यू विल लुक रियली बैड. आई मीन योर स्किन विल स्टार्ट सैगिंग बिकॉज you have no food which is going to give you instant energy. So
Okay.
I recommend जब आप कीटो भी करते हैं, उसका भी एक साइंटिफिक तरीका है, इसलिए आई एम नॉट कंप्लीटली अगेंस्ट ऑल these things because we have to sometimes go for a quick way as well to get results, right? So I am all about all that works, Avinash. I'm not somebody who will say I'm old school and I will do everything that works. I'm very ambitious with my students' goals. लेकिन मेरे 2-3 कंडीशंस हैं कि उनको बाद में कोई नुकसान नहीं होना चाहिए, कोई स्किन सैगिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए, एगिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर मेट, आई एम परफेक्टली फाइन. सो कीटो इन सर्टन सिचुएशंस, बट उसमें भी मैं कार्ब्स मैनेज करके देती हूँ ताकि इट्स नॉट कंप्लीट, इट बिकम्स अ पार्शियल कीटो, सो दैट चेहरे का नूर रहना बहुत जरूरी है और बाकी चीजें चलती रहें ढंग से.
Okay, wonderful. And how can individuals make their meals more protein focused without sacrificing on taste and variety?
Basically, Avinash, everything boils down to preparations, meal preps, especially for women. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, सबका करेंगे, उसके बाद में जो बचा कुचा होता है हम खा लेते हैं. कई बार I've seen mothers eating their children's leftovers as well. Why? Because they don't have the time. तो मैं usually recommend करती हूँ कि आप संडे और वेंसडे 2 दिन रखिए अपना, है ना? इन 2 दिनों में आप अपना प्रेपरेशन करेंगे. संडे को आप सारा सामान लेकर आइए, रेफ्रिजरेट कर दीजिए, जैसे कि फाइबर हो गया, नट्स हो गया, आपका चिकन हो गया, जो आप अच्छे सोर्सेस से अगर चिकन मिल रहा है तो, या फिर आपने अपना टोफू ले लिया, पनीर ले लिया. बहुत सारे कॉम्बिनेशंस है अविनाश. एक्चुअली आई एम प्लानिंग टू राइट अ बुक आल्सो ऑन रेसिपीज बिकॉज people have lost the patience to check online or check with what can be done. So I want to make a book for people. बहुत सिंपल चीज है. उठे आप सुबह, आपने अगर आपके यहाँ पर बेरीज मिल जाते हैं बढ़िया, नहीं मिलती स्ट्रॉबेरीज, कुछ नहीं मिलता एप्पल, ओट्स डाला, प्रोटीन का 1 स्कूप डाला, मिक्सी में ब्लेंड किया, हनी डाला, पी लीजिए, राइट? देन you want to make your mid-meal interesting. Tofu, salads डाले, उसमें भी कुछ salads depending on individual. Like I say, I'm not propagating all salads, but salad डाला, उसके ऊपर आपने थोड़े से nuts डाल दिए, तो प्रोटीन भी मिल गया आपको, कार्ब्स भी मिल गए, और माइक्रोज तो मैनेज हो ही गए. So these kind of permutation combinations if you do, you can really. केक खाने का मन है, प्रोटीन पाउडर का केक बना दो, है ना? You can add ragi protein.
Out of protein powder.
Sorry,
We can
sorry.
make pancakes. We can make pancakes out of protein powders. We can make cold coffee out of protein powder. So there are so many recipes which unfortunately people don't know. We can like make very yummy food. Even in a normal roti, you can add protein powder to it.
Yeah, I'm low on carbs, so it's usually a ragi roti for me. But definitely my proteins come from the powder, so it can be added as well.
Yeah, I mean, this brings me to another question. Which I personally wanted to ask is in terms of the carb intake, the roti and rice. I mean, as you rightly said, the quantity of roti and rice earlier used to be for our forefathers and all. It used to be very high because they were working in the fields and all. But unfortunately, that habit has been brought down to our generation as well. That chawal bahut khana hai, roti bahut khana hai, and then there is a term around gluten free and all. So what's your take on the amount of roti, rice in terms of proportion of your meal, and then how bad or how good they are, and the word of gluten, which or how do you feel about it?
This is all so many things together. So we'll start with rice and roti पहले, है ना?
Correct.
तो basically क्या होता है कि it is all about your activity level. And there are people in my class whom I would advise more of carbs which includes chawal and roti. A lot of people will tell you combining both of them don't work, but I'll give you a very simple reason why I propagate कि आप या तो चावल खाइए या तो रोटी खाइए, है ना?
Okay.
If you're trying to lose fat, gluten free definitely works because gluten will add on to your
What?
stomach. पता नहीं क्यों ऐसे होता है, मैंने काफी बार ये पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से भी नोटिस करा हुआ है. जब आप व्हीट खाते हो, ग्लूटेन होता है उसमें, पेट बाहर निकलता ही निकलता है. और जब आप ग्लूटेन फ्री खाते हो तो उतना नहीं निकलता है. आई मीन देयर इज अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस बाय द वे. सो आई एम टॉकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट वर्क्स. ठीक है, चावल खाइए, सिंपल कार्ब्स है वो, उसमें फाइबर नहीं है ना. कई लोग बोलते हैं माड़ निकाल के चावल खा ले. सी देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ स्टार्च इन इट. ओके, सो आर यू एबल टू burn that kind of calories that you're eating is the point. तो मैं जिनको ज्यादा कुछ ड्रास्टिक चेंज करने की जरूरत नहीं, आई रेकमेंड देम गो फॉर अ मल्टीग्रेन रोटी, राइट? और या फिर ग्लूटेन फ्री व्हीट ले लीजिए. या मल्टीग्रेन में क्या होता है, हमको वी गेट द बेस्ट ऑफ ऑल वर्ल्ड्स काइंड ऑफ थिंग. One is that. Second thing is चावल में अगर आप for example you want to lose about 5 to 10 kgs, है ना? In that case I would recommend you have rice once a day and try to have it in the afternoon. उसका रीजन है शाम होते होते हमारा मेटाबॉलिज्म कम हो जाता है, तो the burning capacity reduces. तो खाइए, आप सब खाइए, लेकिन खाने का तरीका है जिसके लिए यू नीड टू कंसल्ट मी और समबडी एल्स हु नोज व्हाट दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो क्योंकि होता क्या है, कई कई डाइट प्लान्स में आई हैव सीन, हमें तो सब कुछ अलाउ किया है. मैंने कहा फिर बदलेंगे कैसे हम, राइट? हाउ विल change our bodies, how will we strengthen if you're having so much of carbs, so much of हम सोचते हैं कि अनाज भी, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल ग्रेन्स पे भी काफी सारा रिसर्च हुआ है. See, grains are good. We need the complex carbs, but how much is the question. तो eliminate नहीं करना, जितनी जरूरत है उतना include करना. That's the whole point.
Wonderfully said. And the other thing is like, how do people know that they're not taking enough protein? Is there any visible signs which they can relate to?
Definitely, definitely. मैं ना ये मैं पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से बता रही हूँ. मेरे स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं, आप देखना आफ्टर दे गिव बर्थ टू देयर चिल्ड्रन, व्हेन दे कम बैक पूरा ऐसे हाथ वगैरह जो ना सैग कर जाता है ना, पेट सैग कर जाता है. बिकॉज व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू इज दे आर रिड्यूसिंग द फूड विदाउट बॉदरिंग अबाउट व्हाट दे आर पुटिंग इनटू देयर बॉडी. सी ये सब मेरे खाने से, सॉरी,
not balancing the macros basically.
They are not, because they don't have that kind of knowledge, है ना. तो क्या करते हैं, किसी और को डाइट प्लान कहीं किसी से लिया होता है, वो कहते हैं हम भी चलो ये ट्राई कर लो, काम कर जाए. It doesn't work like that. ये जो है ये सब खाने से बना है, right? I cannot, unless I'm implanting something in my head, I can't grow something unless I have the raw material to grow it.
Correct.
Right? It's a very simple and a very clear cut thing, लेकिन आजकल लोग समझ नहीं पाते हैं. नहीं करोगे तो चलेगा क्या? मुझे क्वेश्चन पूछता है अविनाश, and it really makes me bleed in my heart, क्योंकि चलेगा तो कुछ भी, but the point is when you don't have enough proteins, your skin will sag. Second thing, you will not have strength, your immunity will be low, liveliness कम हो जाएगा, है ना. The metabolism will go down, your hormonal health will go for a toss, your nails will be brittle. तो जैसे मैंने पहले भी बताया, 10,000 proteins make us who we are. तो फिर आप प्रोटीन कम करोगे तो प्रॉब्लम आएगी ही आएगी. एंजाइम हेल्थ में प्रॉब्लम आएगी, हार्मोनल हेल्थ में प्रॉब्लम आएगी, मेटाबॉलिज्म में प्रॉब्लम आएगी, साइकोलॉजिकल हेल्थ, इस सबका इट्स अ विशियस साइकिल, यू नो, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. सो यू go wrong with one thing and then fat, it's like a domino effect, you know, everything else starts going down. So you have to be very precise about the foundation of what you're eating so that your building is really strong.
That makes sense. And I mean, then obviously one of the last questions from my end, and then we'll open it to audience, is you definitely, we know each other for the last 3-4 years, and you definitely don't endorse any product, and we hardly see any marketing any products. So, so wanted to understand your thought process behind it, and your interest and finally agreeing with us after 3 years of being, being connected with you for this kind of a session. So wanted to know a little bit on that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's very important because मैं हमेशा मेरे students को बोलती हूँ, I am not loyal to the company. I am loyal to the product which will help my students. Okay. Now the thing is, Avinash, your company thankfully makes me feel more loyal towards the company as well because of your product. The first thing I'll tell you, this is about more than 3 years back, 4 years nearly, when I had an injury and I was trying to recover. तो मुझे 3 times the RD of protein बताया गया था कि my doctor said you need to enhance proteins at a very high level क्योंकि recovery में थोड़ा सा मेरा problem आ रहा था. So I started calling every Tom, Dick and Harry who had a protein company in India because I had tried a lot of very well-known brands. Okay, I won't name them. I don't want to tarnish anybody's image. Please don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But मैंने काफी लोगों को ट्राई किया एंड इट यूज टू लीड टू लॉट ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो कंप्लेन कि कनिष्का यार ये तो ब्लोटिंग हो रही है. ब्लोटिंग का मतलब ही ये है कि आपका प्रोटीन बराबर से एब्जॉर्ब नहीं हो रहा है. तो वहां हजारों रुपए देकर क्या फायदा है जब आपको एक ढंग का प्रोटीन एब्जॉर्बेबल प्रोटीन नहीं मिल रहा है. Right. So I happened to speak to, I think your I don't know if she was the person who answered my call, and I said I want to speak to the owner. He must have thought yeah, I was like, I want to know what your protein is made up of, you know. So and you guys weren't the only ones, and I did speak to you about this as well. I have been taking samples from a lot of people. If I have to recommend or give my name to somebody, if I have to say कि ये अच्छी चीज है, तो it might as well be worth it, or else I mean I am not a marketing person, but I am a genuine person, and I will give you results. So when I say something, it has to be what I say it is. I'm a little, you know, I'm very careful about anything that I give my name to for some reason. So उस time पर when I'd spoken to you, you had told me very clearly, which was really the thing for me, wherein you said we only sell what we can consume ourselves,
Yes.
which was very important for me क्योंकि आजकल कोई ऐसा नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है. दूसरी चीज, I said where are you taking your raw material from, because as I had mentioned even at that time, क्योंकि मैं लोगों से इतने कंपनी से इतना थक गई थी, मैंने 2014-15 में डिसाइड किया था कि मैं अपना खुद का प्रोटीन बनाऊंगी. तो मुझे रियलाइज हुआ इतना एडल्ट्रेशन है, एंड इवन व्हेन यू गोइंग टू अ मैन्युफैक्चरर दे आर टेलिंग यू मैम 200 रुपए का चाहिए कि 500 रुपए का चाहिए, थोड़ा सा माल्टोडेक्सिन डालो, थोड़ा सा कोको पाउडर डालो, थोड़ा सा मिल्क पाउडर डालो, बन गया. और ऊपर से आपका जो जार है वो 20 रुपए का पड़ेगा, लेबल 10 रुपए का पड़ेगा. So I was like, really, we want to give this when, you know, even if the funds, you're short of funds or whatever, anybody's short of funds, you don't do this to people, you know. So I realized I don't want to get into this क्योंकि I'm a very genuine person when it comes to people's health. I'm all about fitness. I'm all about your wellness, you know, when I talk about something. So मैंने जब आपसे पूछा था कि मैंने कहा इतना हार्मोन्स चल रहा है, इतना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, then why, you know, then why do I trust you? So you said that you get all your raw material from Poland.
Correct.
And you are the only Indian company which uses growth hormone free raw material for your protein.
Yes.
And that was the thing which did it for me, because you had told me about the certificate and everything. We've given all of this, and we are very clear about what we make and everything. So when you said all of this, and when the owner of a company was willing to speak to a fitness instructor and clarify, I think it made a lot of it meant a lot to me, you know, at that point in time. That's another thing that we haven't you know, we haven't been interacting much. I think this is the first interaction we've had after that, apart from the telephonic thing. Yeah. But I think your products talk for your belief system. These ethics are what is missing everywhere, you know. And मैंने कई लोगों से बात करी है, आप हमको endorse करिए, हम इतना डिस्काउंट दे देंगे, you know. And you are the only company which is सुंदर, सस्ता, टिकाऊ in terms of protein. You guys are genuine, you know. I speak to you, I mean, your people so very often, जो बोलते हैं वो करते हैं, and it's clear, and I like that transparency with everything. So when I ask you about, you know, why is your vitamin C this you know, costing so much and this much is costing so much, you've always given me valid reasons कि हमने high quality क्या ingredient use किया. You've always told me that. So that really made a lot of difference to me. So मेरे students mostly, I mean, I think 80-85% of my students use Osoaa protein. I use Osoaa protein every single day. For the past 4 years, I haven't used anybody else's protein.
Buying it. I mean, it's not for free. I mean, I just want to tell all the audience. You've been diligent.
Just so that people know.
Who's been helping you with all that arrangement. And
yeah,
one day
let me tell you this. Let me say this on record. I have not been paid by Osoaa for this session. So please don't think I'm, you know, I'm saying this because somebody's paying for it. No. Yeah, absolutely. I've purchased every single jar of protein from you, the supplements, everything I've purchased from you. It is not about the money for me, it is about what is right for me, right? So अगर मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ कि ये चीज अच्छी है और मैंने 4 साल and I have seen tremendous change in my body as well, so when I'm saying it is good, it better be good, नहीं तो फिर I'll, like I said again, repetition, but this is not a paid in inverted commas promotion or anything. This is the fact that I have experienced myself, and that is the reason why I have agreed to this interview or whatever this session. And even with like I said, Osoaa protein is amazing. You've got concentrates, you've got your isolates. I love your isolates as well. Many of my students take your concentrates क्योंकि मैं कुछ लोगों को I want to give them that particular option for certain other reasons, like if they have PCOS and PCOD, तो मैं उसमें आपके ऐसे flavors देती हूँ जो that is good for them. And all of us have experienced amazing results, and I have mentioned also कि हम आपको results भी बताएंगे आपके product से हमें क्या मिले, and it's not because of anything else. It's a very, very genuine declaration that I'm making right now, and it's completely honest. So,
no, I mean, it's very, very hearty to hear this out, and you've been using our products for more than 3 years now, and that is what we all live for. I mean, as a brand owner, for me, I mean, that is the one thing which makes my day, and I mean, that's the best thing to hear from my. I mean, customers who are buying this product, because it's our hard and sweat that we have done to build this company from scratch. Because in this competitive world where everyone is about discounts, कितने सस्ते में दे दोगे, it becomes so difficult to at times address those questions.
No, but I have to say this as well. Avinash, your protein is the most reasonably priced protein. I'm all about Sundar Sasta Tikau, like I always say. And I'll tell you one more thing. You know, when we're talking about people, when they talk about their health, that takes the last, that's the last thing that they think about. I wouldn't have been able to advise people to purchase your protein unless it was reasonably priced.
Correct.
So that is what I think does it for me as well. The quality definitely, the taste definitely, the absorbability in water. You see, it's amazing. I make a shake every day with one fruit, some dry fruits. Amazing. Mera after जो post workout मेरा meal है, every day. I think twice a day I have your protein every single day, whether I'm working out or not working out. And उसका result मुझे दिखता है और वो मैं afford कर सकती हूँ, which is an adulteration free. मुझे tension नहीं है कि मैं क्या body में डाल रही हूँ, मुझे kidney में problem तो नहीं हो जाएगा, मुझे वो तो नहीं हो जाएगा. Because people like us who are so much into fitness, they need a lot more protein, and this definitely helps us a lot because it is reasonably priced. So it's not, see, I know there may be a lot of people who are using the stars and everybody as endorsers, but I personally like this concept about you where you use the normal people, and this is what we discussed. We want the normal people to become strong, and they need to understand the importance of protein. So I think you're doing your goal is very clear, and I think it's a very noble thing that you're doing, honestly.
Thank you so much for that. And I mean, that is where at times we also feel bogged down when people ask, I mean, even if we are reasonably priced, there are some other 10 other brands which are like, they're selling proteins for 1,000 rupees a kg. And I say, how can you do that?
I'll tell you something about this. I will tell you something about this. Avinash, when I was trying to make protein, तो मुझे उन्होंने बोला बहुत clearly, आप 200 का बनाइए 2000 में बेचिए, ठीक है? Before I got into this protein thing, when I wanted more knowledge and I started researching on things, before that I used to consume proteins from people who were selling it for 1,500 rupees, and trust me, उसमें सिर्फ कचरा मिला होता है. I'll tell you what they put. Maltodextrin डाल देते हैं, उसमें थोड़ा सा milk powder डालते हैं, और उसमें थोड़ा सा सोया डालते हैं, उसमें, and I'm coming to the soya, why that's a problem, and थोड़ा सा कोको पाउडर डाल देते हैं, मस्त एक डब्बा ले लेते हैं, उसके ऊपर लेबल लगा देते हैं. The problem with soya, which many people don't know, layered marketing बहुत चल रही है. मैं कंपनीज के नाम नहीं लूंगी. I'm so sorry again, it's not an intention to tarnish anyone's image, but layered marketing जो चल रही है, उसमें proteins बहुत सस्ते मिलते हैं. अविनाश, if you check the protein, it is 80% made up of soya. Now soya is good. However, when taken every single day, it has a tendency to interfere with your hormones as well.
Correct.
और मैंने खुद अपनी लाइफ में 8 लोगों को ऐसे देखा है जिन्होंने ये लेयर्ड मार्केटिंग वालों से प्रोटीन्स खरीदे हैं, क्योंकि इन इन्वर्टेड कॉमर्स दे गेट इट इन डिस्काउंट्स एंड देन दे गेट यूरिक एसिड एंड गाउट. जैसे ही इनके शेक्स खत्म हुए, इनका वजन वापस भी आ जाता है, उसके साथ में 2 बीमारियां और आ जाती हैं. सो द पॉइंट इज, I would not mind spending 200 rupees, 300 rupees more for a genuine product rather than wasting 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, 2000 rupees on something which is going to give me new diseases wherein I'll have to spend lakhs of rupees later.
Correct.
Right? हाँ, तो ये पॉइंट लोगों को एक्चुअली थोड़ा समझना भी जरूरी है. एंड आई डोंट थिंक यू गाइज, आई लाइक दैट थिंग about you, that you are about real people. That's why you make sure that आपका नॉर्मल लोग ले रहे हैं, ना कि बहुत कोई हाई एंड एक्टर्स और एक्ट्रेसेस, क्योंकि वहां का पैसा फिर आपके प्रोटीन से आता है. Right?
Correct.
So I like the fact that you put in investing all that in your protein. So your quality of protein is really high, which is what we want.
Yeah, so we avoid those kind of a marketing gimmicks and or using ingredients. A lot of people or brands, what they do is they add a lot of marketing gimmicks in their protein just because it's a buzzword, like about charcoal, like about adding salt in toothpaste. I mean, there's so many things which happen in the market just because it's a marketing gimmick which they can do because there's a lot of buzzword around it. But we try to stay away from that, and we just believe in the quality. Let quality speak for itself. And it's not easy because in this domain, when there are like when products are tested, I mean, if you talk about a protein tested to be, I mean, if there's label claim is a 70%, but the test results come out to be 20%, so it's very, very difficult. And they sell obviously dirt cheap online, and then the customers of those brands, they'll say, "Nahi, aapka mehenga hum lenge nahi." But they don't understand. They don't understand that.
Sorry, go on.
No, so I was saying they don't understand what they're doing to their body in the long term just because of a bargain. And that's a very difficult journey to explain all of them, that you need to understand the claims are not always true. So you need to verify those claims or try to understand how is it possible, because the maltodextrin which you added, it's only 38 rupees a kg, and a protein costs more than 1,000 rupees a kg. The raw material. So how will you, I mean, make sense if you're selling a dabba full of protein or maybe an isolate around 1,000 or 1,200 rupees, and that too online. When there is a commission and all things which are there. So people don't understand a lot of those things. Sorry, you were saying something.
Just adding to this what you just said. पहले ना मैं भी ऐसे ही सोचती थी, to be honest, you know, when I was not into sports medicine and so sports supplementation and nutrition, I used to think, यार 1,500 का मिल रहा है, कौन इतना खर्च करेगा? As I have grown to get in-depth information, I have realized हमेशा मैं जाके ingredients में उनका protein quality check करती ही हूँ, and you will be surprised, you get 11% protein. 9% प्रोटीन. और आपको पता है कि अगर वो कॉन्सेंट्रेट में है ना, इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, है ना, तो कॉम्बिनेशन में जब आप करते हो तो उसका 80% भी एब्सॉर्प्शन नहीं है. तो 8 ग्राम के लिए आप घर में 2 एग वाइट्स खा लीजिए. 4.3 ग्राम एक अंडे में मिलता है, तो 2 अंडे खाएंगे तो भी इससे ज्यादा एब्सॉर्प्शन है, क्योंकि एग हैज द मैक्सिमम एब्सॉर्प्शन. So why to spend? And the thing is, अब मेरे को लगता है लोगों को ये समझने की जरूरत है. You know, people are saving money at the wrong places. I always feel this. I feel you find a genuine company. मैंने find करी. I found Osoaa. That time I think it was still coming up. I think है ना, ज़्यादा मुझे मालूम नहीं है what was the situation when I found you guys. I am not after labels. I am not after paying customs. Imported जो protein लेते हैं लोग, बहुत बड़े बड़े brands. Oh, this, that, I don't want to name them again. No intention to tarnish, but they are so easily adulterated, you have no idea. There are places in Haryana, there are places in Bangalore where there is adulteration happens. And why would I pay for customs? मतलब मैं एक बहुत genuine question बोलती हूँ, जब आपके घर के अंदर, that is in India, you've got a brand which is completely genuine and you're only paying for the highest quality of ingredients. Or I also understand that the reason that you import the raw material from Poland is because India में वो है नहीं अभी, वो regulatory authority इतनी stringent है नहीं. So for our own good, you're importing it and you're paying all that money for that raw material. तो क्यों ना हम घर का ही ले लें? क्यों आइसोप्योर या कोई भी सॉरी कंपनीज जो इंपोर्ट होती हैं, वो यहाँ पर क्या है उसका ऑथेंटिसिटी किसी को नहीं पता है. So why to put those things in your body?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And so that's where our focus is also a lot into not just physical health, because that is a big misnomer that we think कि बस physical health हो गया तो सब कुछ हो गया, but it is a mix of gut, physical and mental health. And it is very important to focus on a gut health and mental health rather than just your physical health, because everything, the neurotransmitters which control your mind, your body and soul, it comes from your gut. So if you're not healthy at your gut or at a mind level, then your physical fitness, you cannot reach that level.
You cannot be fit unless it's a combination of all your elements. That includes your psychological health, your mental health, your physical health. So it's definitely it's comprehensive fitness. It has to be a combination of all. नहीं तो हम long run में जरूर कहीं ना कहीं रुक जाएंगे, पक्का, guaranteed. If one vertical is not working well and you're running, so एक vertical पीछे रह जाता है तो आपकी speed कम होते होते रुक जाएगी, just to enhance that one vertical. Also, without good psychological health, it's very difficult to sustain fitness, because everything we do with our emotions, है ना. जब मैं results देखती हूँ तो मैं exercise करती हूँ, लेकिन जब मैं खुश नहीं हूँ अंदर से, मेरा hormonal health सही नहीं है, तो it's very unlikely that I will be sustainable with my exercise regime or my fitness regime.
Correct. So I think I'm done with all my questions, and we'll just check for a few questions from the audience, and so let's just see if we have some questions from the audience. I think we have one question, which from Angelika, which says, "I'm not able to meet my protein requirement, and I have bloating issues post festive season. How can I solve it?"
Yeah, post festive season, जैसे मैंने in one of my videos I had said people run for keto, GM diet, this shit, that shit. The first thing to incorporate in your system is hydration, पानी. क्योंकि क्या होता है जब हम बहुत कचरा खा चुके होते हैं, which includes, sorry to say I'm using this term, जो हम डेयरी की मिठाइयां भी जो खा रहे हैं वो भी ओरिजिनल है कि नहीं मुझे नहीं मालूम, कितनी भी अच्छी कंपनी की हो जाए, आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स विल इम्पैक्ट अस इन अ वेरी नेगेटिव वे, क्योंकि हमारा पेट का साइज जो होता है वो बढ़ जाता है. आवर स्टमक इज इलास्टिक, यू नो, एज एन ऑर्गन इट इज इलास्टिक. ठीक है, तो हमने बहुत खाया है, पेट बढ़ गया है, और वो ब्लोटिंग 2 से 3 दिन लेगा. जब आप फाइबर इंक्लूड करोगे, पानी इंक्लूड करोगे, रॉ फूड्स इंक्लूड करोगे, प्रोटीन इंक्लूड करने के लिए आपको क्वालिटी देखनी पड़ेगी. अगर आप नेचुरल सोर्सेज से ले रहे हो तो आप राजमा छोले नहीं ले सकते हो, कॉलीफ्लावर वगैरह चीजें नहीं ले सकते, बिकॉज दीज कॉज ब्लोटिंग. रेडिश नहीं ले सकते. तो ऐसे टाइम पे आपको, या तो अगर आप नॉन वेजिटेरियन है तो आप नॉन वेजिटेरियन फूड आइटम्स ऐड कर सकते हो, और अगर आप प्रोटीन सप्लीमेंट लेते हो तो फिर नथिंग लाइक इट. तो आप शुरुआत करिए एक स्कूप से, धीरे धीरे एज योर बॉडी विल गेट यूज्ड टू दिस एंड द साइज ऑफ द स्टमक विल रिड्यूस, फिर आप अपना नॉर्मल जो आपका डाइट आपको डाइटिशियन अगर दिया है, या फिर आप हमें कंसल्ट कीजिए, हम आपको बताएंगे. वी कैन टेक इट स्टेप बाय स्टेप. और ये प्रॉब्लम सबकी है, और इसका ये बैकलॉग रहता है अविनाश, एक्चुअली स्पीकिंग, आफ्टर द हॉलीडेज, बिकॉज पीपल थिंक इट इज ऑल राइट टू गो बर्जक, जबकि मैं काफी वीडियोज में बताती हूँ हाउ टू चीट, हाउ टू इनकलकेट दीज थिंग्स एंड देन कम बैक ऑन ट्रैक. I mean, if you're in shape, you just don't keep sitting there. You come out of it, right? तो वो उसके बैकलॉग की वजह से, उसके आफ्टर मैथ, वो बोलते हैं ना, आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स की वजह से they keep sitting there. So hydration, fiber and protein, whichever way you can best opt for. Non-vegetarian, vegetarian मैंने आपको बताया प्रॉब्लम्स क्या क्या हैं, ब्लोटिंग हो जाती है, उससे फर्दर ब्लोटिंग होती है, एंड देन नॉन वेजिटेरियन सोर्सेज या प्रोटीन सप्लीमेंट आप ले सकते हैं.
Okay. So how can, if anyone is interested to know more about their fitness journey, or rather improve their fitness journey, so how can they reach you?
I'm available on my Insta handle. I've given my numbers as well. You're most welcome to consult. मैं हमेशा 2 trial classes भी देती हूँ अविनाश, so that they can decide if they like the classes and then take a final call. My class is not like run of the mill class. It is a result oriented class जहाँ पर हम सारे verticals पूरा करते हैं, mind, body, spiritual, your diet, your nutrition, your strength, your flexibility, everything is included. So I'm very happy. If I have any queries, please connect on instant message or direct message kar dijiye aap, and I've mentioned my numbers as well, and we are very happy to help.
And there is another question which now is popping up from Venu, which is saying, do you have physical sessions, group sessions and all as well, or is it all online?
My studio apparently is in Pune, so उसके बाद मेरे पास सिर्फ online का option रहता है to cater to people from India and abroad. My trainings are for intermediate, beginner level, advanced level. So मैं individually वैसे भी आपको देखती हूँ, and I give training in a group class only. तो जैसे for example, there might be people who are at different levels, but I will tell you exercises on how to do each exercise at every level.
Okay.
तो मतलब एक ही एक्सरसाइज को मैं हर लेवल में बताती हूँ. आई एक्सरसाइज विथ यू, आई गिव यू, आई एम वेरी फोकस्ड, आई गॉट अ हॉक्स आई, सो आई लुक एट एवरी स्टूडेंट ऑफ माइन, आई गॉट प्रोजेक्टर सिस्टम्स, आई लुक एट ईच वन ऑफ यू very individually, and I am able to advise what you need to do क्लास के सेशन में ही. So don't worry about your training. Training is flawless. So come for 2 trial classes, see if it works for you. और उस नहीं भी काम अगर लगता है आपको, if you have any other queries, you're most welcome to connect with me over WhatsApp or on Instagram, and I'm happy to help.
We do have more questions, but we are obviously off time, and I do know you have some more meetings lined up, and also I will not take your time. For all other questions, I think we will offline redirect it to you.
Sure.
And for that to be answered. But really, thank you so much for the time, and really appreciate your time. And obviously, it also helped me to clarify a few things. It doesn't matter what we do; there's always some learning. So it was wonderful hosting you with Osoaa, and looking forward you to, drive this passionate. The drive which you're doing in terms of driving people to be fit and fitter, and with ICANN. So wonderful journey, which we have been seeing for last 3 years, and hats off to you, Kanishka. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me for this kind of a session. I'm really happy to be part of this, and great job to you all as well. Every one of you, Priyanshi, Sunil. Sunil has been getting a lot of calls from me all the time. Ye jaye, wo bhejo, but he's been very patient. So I have to say thank you to him as well, and thank you to the whole team of Osoaa for being so supportive with every demand that we've had. Whenever, मैं रात को message करती हूँ, सुबह वो भेज देते हैं. So I'm really, really very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our pleasure. Okay. Bye.
Bye, Avinash. Bye.
Bye.